If you're a CEO, you are making high stakes decisions with incomplete information under a lot of stress and in front of a lot of people who really have opinions and incentives. So that gets really heavy really quickly. Am I right? CEO executive coaching is a private structured thinking partnership designed for the realities of the top seat. So your role is different from everybody else's. You've got isolation, stakeholder complexity, and decisions that ripple across the entire organization. In this video, I'll walk through what CEO coaching actually is, what outcomes you should expect, how the process works, and how to choose the right coach for you without wasting your time or your money. What CEO executive coaching actually is. So, really, CEO coaching is a confidential relationship where you bring real problems and real situations and your real tensions and the decisions you need to make, and we work through them completely together, especially focusing on things like clarity and accountability. So it's not got anything to do with theory. It's not just general leadership training. It's actually none of those things. It's really just about how you think, how you decide, how you become clear, and how you want to show up as the best leader self that you can possibly show up as, because your leadership translates into execution across the whole business. So when you're the CEO, your patterns scale. The good ones scale, which is great for most people, but the blind ones, they scale much faster. So paying attention to that is key. So why is CEO coaching different from other leadership development? It's because most leadership development programs are built for groups and for broad skill development. CEO coaching is built for the reality that you can't be fully candid with everyone around you. You carry enterprise-wide consequences, not functional ones. You're navigating board dynamics, investor expectations, internal politics, and external validity all at the same time. Sounds like a lot? That's because it is. The CEO seat also compresses time. Your tenure is shorter than it used to be, and the scrutiny is really constant. If you don't have a place to think clearly, it is easy to slip into reactive leadership and call it being responsive. Sound familiar? Here are some of the biggest themes I see when I'm coaching CEOs, and I see them again and again. The first one, isolation, number one reported issue among CEOs. So you might have a great team, but there are still things you can't say out loud. You can't talk to the board about your issues. You can't talk to your CFO. That doesn't make you dishonest. It makes you the CEO. The second thing that I hear, decision pressure. You're making calls with imperfect data. You are also dealing with second and third order consequences. So what does it do to culture? What does it do to retention and confidence and the board's trust? Like, all of those things ultimately depend on you. The third thing I hear is stakeholder complexity. We're talking about boards, investors, your executive team, your customers, your partners. Everyone wants certainty, and you're the only one holding uncertainty. Good reason for a coach. Number four, the CEO has a bottleneck effect. This one's kind of sneaky because you start owning too many decisions because it feels like they're your decisions and it feels like it's faster to be doing it that way. But then your organization slows down because everything routes through you. So it slows it all down. Number five is sustainability. So high performance has a cost. If you never protect time to think, then the job turns into a permanent triage. And that's not a badge of honor, it's a complete risk. So what outcomes should you expect? Good CEO coaching is not a weekly conversation that feels nice. Actually, it really truly happens about every 2 weeks or even less than that. It happens when it's best for you, and you should see the outcomes that you can point to. So here are some of the categories I'd expect improvements in: strategic clarity, decision quality, cleaner decisions, fewer repeat indecisiveness, going over things over and over, better prioritization, and stronger communication of the why behind whatever direction you're going in. Also, your leadership effectiveness. How are you running your meetings? How are you handling conflict? How do you give feedback to people or set expectations? Those aren't soft skills. They actually determine the speed and the quality of execution. I often hear about team performance. So your leadership style sets the tone. When you create more clarity and psychological safety, you get better information. You get it earlier, and your team makes better decisions without waiting for you. Personal sustainability, also better boundaries, better energy management, fewer reactive patterns. I mean, I could go on all day. You can be fully committed to the work without letting it consume you. And I think that's something that a lot of CEOs struggle with, is that their work ends up consuming their whole life. So this is a goal to kind of get people out of that. You'll also see ROI numbers thrown around. The point is not to memorize a statistic there. It's just so that coaching can be a high leverage investment when you're tying it to measurable business outcomes and it's tracked properly. What does the CEO coaching process look like? So, a serious coaching engagement usually has a clear structure. The first step would be an assessment. Oftentimes, that includes 360 feedback or interviews and validated assessments. It could be the coach's own determination, too. And the goal is simple, it's really just to establish a baseline and surface blind spots that you can't see alone. The next step is to define 1 to 3 goals, not 12, just a few high impact goals that are tied to your business outcomes. So it could be that you want to make faster decision cycles, or it could be that you want to be a more strategic communicator with your board, something like that. Maybe stronger executive team accountability, better stakeholder management and communication, more space for strategic thinking. Really, there's a lot of different things that this could encompass. The third step is regular sessions. So this is most commonly biweekly, as I mentioned, or it could be even monthly. It depends on whatever you're going through at work. So the sessions are structured, but they're flexible. So we work on what is real right now while staying anchored to your long-term goals. You might bring something to the session that is really pressing for you, but the umbrella goal always remains the same. So step 4 is progress tracking. If you can't measure your progress, then you can't manage it. That might mean revisiting your 360 feedback or tracking decision cadence or team engagement, retention. Those are the kinds of other things that you can measure that are going to help match your goals. They're metrics that can help you. So, how do you choose the right CEO coach? This is where a lot of CEOs get burned because the market is really noisy. There's a lot of coaches out there. And here's the filter that I would recommend. The first is look at credentials and training. See if that coach is credentialed by the ICF, like having an ACC or PCC or MCC. You'll see those initials after professional coaches' names because they really require training and formal education in order to become a coach. Anybody can call themselves a coach, but you want to ask about that. And you want to ask about how many hours they've been coaching. Especially you want to ask them about if they've been coaching other CEOs. You might want somebody who understands something about top seat dynamics. So you've got to ask. You can't know until you ask. It's a clear method that you're looking for from this person. So if they were trained by the ICF like I was, then they're going to have a consistent way of assessing and setting goals and tracking your progress. Another thing to keep in mind is the chemistry. So your coach should really help you think, and they shouldn't impress you with their own stories. I don't talk about myself in the sessions. The point is for you to feel supported and for you to feel challenged. So you might want to ask a couple of questions to a CEO coach in your first consult. One of those questions might be about how they measure progress in the coaching engagement with you and how do they report that back to you. You might also ask what the first 60 days or so looks like. How many sessions do they expect that you might see some change? And then always ask them about confidentiality, especially if they didn't get any sort of credentials and they're just calling themselves a coach. They might not have a board of ethics that they need to be accountable to, like the ICF holds me accountable. Another thing you can ask them, you can ask about other similar situations that they've coached. You can get a couple of examples of testimonials, maybe if they have some, and paying attention to if they're trying to push you. Really, the fact of a coach is, and every coach who's a good coach should know that they shouldn't be making vague promises. They shouldn't be talking more than they're listening to you, even if it's on a first call. And they really need to have a clear plan for how they're going to help you. If they don't, then they're probably not that serious about their credentials or having them even, and they're not clear about what that plan is going to be to help you. So when does coaching make sense? Coaching can actually help at any stage, but here's a few moments where it tends to pay off really quickly. Growth transitions. Maybe you got promoted. Maybe you're in a new market or an acquisition happened, or you have a major pivot. You're scaling, you're stepping into the CEO role or leaving the CEO role. All of those things could be good indicators that it's time for a coach. Sometimes you might experience performance friction. So if you're losing great people, you're getting consistent feedback, and you don't know how to fix whatever is happening, or you're seeing yourself stall repeatedly, then that might be a good time for you to say, hey, what's going on here? And you might look at it as a way to build capacity before you're forced to. So waiting for a crisis is super expensive. This could be a way to mitigate that before it even happens. What should you expect in the first 90 days of coaching? The first thing you should expect is really to get some clarity. So even in the first 4 weeks, there will be an assessment, there will be some sort of a baseline, there will be pattern identification that the coach helps you figure out. After that, after you start to build a rapport between weeks 4 and 8, you might start to focus your goals and apply them into real meetings and conversations and decisions you're making. And you'll talk about that in your sessions. Then weeks 8 to 12, you'll do a midway checkpoint to see what's going on, seeing if you have any feedback for the coach, and also see if you need a different approach. This is something that sometimes coaches need to hear that feedback in order to know what they have that they're doing that is just off for you. So you should leave early sessions with sharper decisions and better moves, not just insight. So what to do with all of this information? If you want the full breakdown, including coaching formats, selection criteria, and what to expect step by step, you can read the full CEO executive coaching guide that's linked below. And if you are considering coaching and want to talk through it, especially about fit, your goals, your timing, you can definitely book a complimentary call with me. I do this often to just help people, even if the person isn't me, for them to work with ultimately. And sometimes they decide they don't want coaching. It's great to actually have a conversation and bring a real challenge that you're facing right now. Because even with just one thing that you're facing, I can help you figure out from the first minute if it's actually something that's going to be worth getting a coach for and investing in. So you can read my full post below. Thanks so much for watching and make sure to subscribe.